There's a couple different ways to use them. A lot of traders use them to try and trade in between, buy when it hits the lower band, sell when it hits the higher band. That's one way to use them. Another way
Welcome back, traders and investors. We have BenCBanks on the line, and he's a momentum trader and owner of BenCBanks. He studies finance at the Poole College of Management at North Carolina State University, the Wolfpack. He's an avid fitness enthusiast and spends a lot of time in the gym. What time do you get in the gym in the morning, Ben?
I usually get there around 6:15 in the morning.
Oh, okay. All right, so you're busy, you're in college, you're working out, you're following the markets. Do you do this what are the other college kids doing? What do they say about this?
Well, surprisingly, there's a lot of people that are interested in the markets here in college. About every day I get asked, like, Ben, tell me about what you do. I want to know more about trading. I've always been interested in that. I'm happy to tell them, and there's a lot of interest here in college. But my passion for the market began when I was 12 years old. And at 12 years old, I bought my first two stocks. They were Nike and Target, and I bought them just because I was familiar with the companies. I didn't know anything. I didn't know any analysis or anything like that. But I bought them, and then 4 years later, luckily I had not gained or lost any money in the market, so I sold them. I was like, well, obviously I'm not doing something right. So at that point, I started researching, how can I make money in the market, and I stumbled upon technical analysis, and I fell in love with it. It made sense to me, and ever since then, that's kind of the path I've taken, becoming better every day. That's my goal.
And did you have a mentor in this process, like your mom or your dad or somebody like that to kind of mentor you along?
Both my mom and my dad don't really follow the stock market as closely as I do. But one person in particular, which you were actually had a guest on, he was a guest yesterday, was Scott Redler.
Okay.
He helped me a lot in the beginning few months of my trading from his Twitter, and I talked to him a few times, and I kind of took a little bit of his knowledge, and I made it my own. And that's, I guess, if I had to choose one person who helped me in the beginning, it would be Mr. Redler.
Oh, wow. Well, that's great. Great to hear that. Okay, so what's your purpose of your blog? Are you publishing it every day? What do you expect people to get out? Are you coming out with specific buy and sell recommendations?
I do post all the trades that I ever take on my Twitter feed, and occasionally I will post an article about why I took a trade, but I am fully transparent. All my trades do go on my Twitter feed. But the purpose of the blog itself is three reasons, actually. Number one is to teach others because, and when I first started, I didn't know anything. I taught it all myself for the most part. The second reason is I want to teach myself because I believe that verbalizing what I think helps me understand the concepts better and makes me a better trader. And the third reason is because I want to build a reputation for a future career in the finance industry.
And what would you like to do? Would you like to be a money manager? Would you like to be a broker? What would you like to do?
Right. So currently, my future plans are this summer. I'm still looking for an internship position. That's kind of near term. But then after that, in early 2015, I'm launching a new website, which I'm really, really excited about. I can't say much more than that because we haven't finalized all the details, but I can't wait to announce it. And but longer term, in about maybe 6 to 10 years, I would like to be a money manager, a fund manager, something along those lines.
All right. So going to particular setups, are you just a short-term day trader? Do you take a longer-term perspective on the markets? What do you look for in a trade?
Yeah, so I'm actually I'm not a day trader. My average holding time is probably about 5 to 10 days per trade, and there's four things in particular I look for in all my trades, no matter if it's long or short. The first one is a price contraction. The second one is a rising moving average for long setups, rising 21-day or 50-day moving average, whichever one I'm looking at. And the third thing is relative strength relative to S&P 500. So if the S&P 500 is down one day and this stock is up, I'm looking at that. And the final thing, which will trigger the trade, is it's closing on the highs of the day. So if we got price contraction, we have a rising moving average, it's showing relative strength, and it's closing on the highs of the day, I'm going to take that trade long. And the inverse of that, if everything's the opposite, and I will take that stock short, and it's just as simple as that. That's pretty much the only setup I ever do, and I kind of named it the Coghill flag. I actually wrote an article on it this past week on the website, BenCBanks.com, where I go over what specifically is involved with the Coghill flag, and that's the trade setup that I do on all my trades.
Where'd you come up with that name?
It's actually my middle name. I
Oh,
thought it was unique, so I was like, Coghill flag. So,
okay. All right. So what is your percentage of long trades to short trades?
well, I guess since we're in a bull market, it's pretty much like 90% long trades, 10% short trades. But if we start a downtrend, I'm sure it'll flip around and more short setups will come up. But I basically I take the setups that I get no matter what, and if there's no setups, then I do nothing. And if they're short setups, I'll take the short setups. If they're long setups, I'll take the long setups. No questions asked.
How'd you do last week?
I was flat. I got flat on September 19th. That's not because anything that I was guessing, not because I had insider information, but simply because there were no setups for me to buy. Like if there were a setup, I would have bought it and it would have been all fine. But, there was nothing for me to buy, and I tweeted that out on September 19th saying, you know what, guys, I don't really see anything that's of interest here. So I was flat starting that day, and I've been flat for the most part ever since.
Well, and you didn't have any short setups during that time?
No, the thing is with the short setups, they move so quickly to the downside that they rarely trigger for me because I only enter in a trade on the last hour of the day. So by the time the last hour of the day rolls around, the stocks are already extended to the downside, so they never actually give me that short trigger because one of the rules I have is I never short a stock that's below the lower Bollinger Band or buy a stock that's already above the upper Bollinger Band. So in that case, when the market starts going down because it's more of an elevator down than stairs up, the short setups aren't as frequent, I guess you could say, as a long setup. But occasionally they do come around, like AutoNation on September 9th, I believe. That was a short setup that I took, and I guess that's an example of what a short setup would look with a Coghill flag.
Okay. And you're just trading your own capital right now?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right. And just looking at this, so you got flat September 19th, and you didn't have any short signals for a month or whatever. What kind of buy signals did you get last week?
I'm actually still flat. The setup that I'm looking for is very, very specific. So what I believe for me, success comes when I'm very rigid in my process and only take the best of the best setups. Because I don't think that trading more makes you more money. It's trading smarter that makes you more money. So I could be flat for a month and a half, whatever, and still have a very respectable return if I'm taking the most quality of quality setups and not over trading.
What's your overall return this year?
Currently I'm up about 17.5% with a Sharpe ratio of 1.02.
Okay, far exceeding the market there. Yeah, you're doing a good job. You're busy during college. How many classes do you have?
I'm actually taking 18 hours this semester, so it's quite a heavy course load.
Oh my gosh! And so, do you monitor the markets intraday? And do you have time to do that, or do you just look for your setups? And after the market closes and see if anything hit your parameters.
Yeah, so on my phone, my iPhone, I'm checking the quotes probably every like half an hour just to see where the market's at. Maybe I'll tweet out some thoughts or something. But my prime time for the setup, searching for set is from 3 to 4. I'll sit down at the computer and I'll scroll through all my scans and I'll see if there's anything going to trigger. And if something looks good, if something's setting up, I'll then go ahead and buy it in the last hour of the day. But as for trading intraday during from 9:30 to 3, I don't do that.
Okay, you don't participate. You just look for your setups. Do you pay much attention to the pre-market or after-hours trading, or not really?
Not really. I mean, if there's something like some big news event, I'll pay attention to it. But for the most part, it's pretty illiquid, so it's not really relevant to the current price chart.
Do you trade options at all?
I do not. I'm strictly equity.
Okay, and are you always in with stops and targets, and is that the way you do it, or do you kind of just use a trailing stop if you could get something going your way?
Yeah. So part of my strategy is when I buy a stock, I'll sell half when it breaks out of its consolidation base and kind of goes higher and above the upper Bollinger Band. I'll sell half right there. Then I'll trail the second half versus the lows of the day, or if it closes 3 days outside the upper Bollinger Band, I'll sell the other half. So while I don't necessarily have targets because trends can go on for longer than anybody ever imagined, that's kind of what we saw in 2013. So I'm not one to guess when the trend's going to stop by placing a target on it. But I definitely have stops. Stops are 100% necessary in the process that I implement. So I love my stops. They are what makes me successful.
And I see you're part of the Leaders Investment Club. How does that impact your market point of view?
Yeah, so I joined this club probably about 2 years ago. They asked me to join them. I was a founding member. And it is a club full of younger market participants. Some are still in high school, some are close to graduating college. But what it kind of taught me what helped me be humble and grounded in my process. As I was talking to other people that were market participants, I needed to relate to them. I needed to understand what they were talking about. So it kind of taught me that how to be respectful to other market participants.
And what words of advice or encouragement do you have for other young traders out there, young investors?
Okay, so I think this can be said for any market participants, especially ones that are just starting. I'd say keep at it. It's going to be difficult at some points. It's not necessarily going to be a walk in the park, and it's important not to copy anybody's strategy word for word. You got to be unique if you're going to find long-term success in the capital markets.
And is there anyone you'd like to meet in this crazy industry?
Kind of shooting high a little bit here, but I think it'd be really cool to sit down and talk to Mr. Paul Tudor Jones for a little bit.
Okay.
Everybody likes him, so I think that'd be really cool.
Going back a little old school there with Paul Tudor Jones. I respect that. Okay. All right. Ben Banks. He's a momentum trainer and owner of BenCBanks.com. As we mentioned, he's still in school at the Poole College of Management at North Carolina State University. And has been at the market for 7 years. Ben, way to go. Sounds like you have a very disciplined approach to the market. I would just try and encourage you to, I know you got a lot of strategies for the long side, but, the short side is something that you got to entertain too. So follow your rules, stick to them. I'm sure you'll have continued success, and we'd like to have you back on our show again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.